So from previous classes, we are learning about time complexity, space complexity we have learned. Then from two classes, we are learning time complexity. Today we'll learn again time complexity for one more algorithm, that is Fibonacci numbers. And we'll learn some basic concepts of asymptotic notations today. So Fibonacci sequence, you have already learnt about Fibonacci sequence in your PCDS, that is in first year, then in second year also, that is in third semester. You have learnt in your data structure, that is while learning the recursion algorithms, you have learnt about this, right? We'll discuss this again. Here we are going to learn the analysis of that, okay? So the Fibonacci sequence of number starts as 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, so on, right? So on up to n number of elements, whatever the numbers you have specified, right? So here initial value we are going to take as 0 and 1. Initial two numbers we are taking. Then the next number will be the addition of or sum of the previous two number. So 0 plus 1 will become 1. So that is the third number. Fourth number will be again second number and third number. So 1 plus 1, which is equal to 2. Again, fourth number will be second number, addition of second number and third number. 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. It will continue depending on the value of n you have given, right? So each new term is obtained by taking the sum of the two previous terms, right? If we call the first term as the sequence, first term in the sequence as f0, then f0 is equal to 0 and f1 is equal to 1. And what is f2? f2 is equal to f1 plus f0, which is equal to 1 plus 0, which is equal to 1. That will be the third number, that is f2. And in general, fn is equal to fn minus 1 plus fn minus 2 for all n greater than or equal to 2. If n is equal to 2, what happens? Will be having initial two numbers 0 and 1. Okay, 0 and 1, two numbers. Okay, first number is 0, second number is 1. Right? If it is greater than or equal to 2, then fn is equal to fn minus 1 plus fn minus 2. Right? Then see this GIF. So you can understand how the Fibonacci series works. Initially we'll be having 0 and 1. So 0 plus 1 is 1, then 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5. It will continue like this. That is number 1 plus number 2. So here every time this number 1 and number 2 value will change in the recursion, right? Initially it will be 0, 1, then it will be 1, 1, then it will be 1, 2. It will keep on changing, right? We are going to add these two and that will be the present number, right? And let's discuss Fibonacci numbers algorithm. Algorithm Fibonacci of n. Compute the nth Fibonacci number. So what will be the result of this? Nth Fibonacci number will be returned. Okay, nth Fibonacci number will be returned. That is, if it is third number 3, if I have given n is equal to 3, 0 plus 1 it will add, it will return it as 1. Okay, so nth Fibonacci number will be returned if n is less than or equal to 1. If n is less than or equal to 1, then write of n. So what we are doing here, we are just displaying that value. If n is equal to 0, we are going to display 0. If n is equal to 1, then also we are going to display that n value, that is 1. So if it is 0 or 1, we are going to display the value of that. So it is right of n. Then else, if it is not 0 or 1, okay, if it is not 0 or 1, then go to else part. Initialize these two numbers. FNM2 is equal to 0 and FNM1 is equal to 1. Okay, so FNM2, you consider it as the number minus 2. That is, I want the third number. if I want the third number, then 3 minus 2, it will be equal to 0. Okay, so consider like that. Then 1 means it is n minus 1. Okay, that will be first number. So n minus 2, that is if I want the third number, then n minus 2, so this will be first number, 0. Then n minus 1, it is 3 minus 1, this will be the second number. Okay, consider like that. So FNM2 is equal to 0 and FNM1 is equal to 1. So initial two values. Then for I is equal to 2 to n. Why it begins at 2? Because already we have 0th number, that is 0. First number, that is 1. We have already these two values we have. Right? Already these two values we have. Okay, 0 and 1, these two values we have. Okay, these two values we have. So Fn is I value will start from 2. I is equal to 2 to n. Do Fn. Fn means here value of I is 2 now. So F2 we are going to write. F2 is equal to FNM1 plus FNM2. Okay, FNM1 plus FNM2. So 0 plus 1, which is equal to 1. Okay, then FNM2 is equal to FNM1. FNM1 is equal to Fn. Now we are going to change the value of FNM2 and FNM1. Now we have to get the new number. Next two numbers we have to get, so that we can calculate the fourth number. Okay, so change the value of FNM2 and FNM1. So FNM2 is equal to FNM1 and FNM1 is equal to Fn. Okay, then at the end, when the for loop ends, at the end write the value of Fn, that is nth Fibonacci number we have to display. Okay, so here okay, 0 and 1 we have taken initially. So FNM2 is equal to 0, FNM1 is equal to 1. Consider the value of I is equal to 2. Okay, value of I is equal to 2. So what we are doing here, we are going to add the Fn value. Fn value, what is Fn value now? Fn value is equal to 0 plus 1. Okay, 0 plus 1, which is equal to 1. This is the Fn value now. Now change the value of FNM2 and FNM1. Okay, what is FNM2? FNM2 is equal to FNM1. What is FNM1? It was 1. FNM1, you can see the value outside the loop. FNM1 is equal to 1 initially. So assign it to FNM2. Then FNM1 is equal to Fn. FNM1 is equal to Fn. Fn we have calculated, that is equal to 1. Now value of FNM2 and FNM1 has got changed. Right? Now I will be incremented. I is equal to 3. Consider the n value as 5. Okay, consider n value as 5. So fifth Fibonacci number we want. Okay, consider we want fifth Fibonacci number. Now again, here I is equal to 3. 3 is less than or equal to 5. So what happens here? It will enter into the loop. It will calculate the new value of Fn. Fn is equal to FNM1 plus FNM2. What is FNM1? It is 1. What is FNM2? It is also 1, which is equal to 2. This is the new value of Fn. So FNM, again change the value of FNM2. FNM2 is equal to FNM1. What is the previous value of FNM1? It is 1. You can see here. Okay, you can see here FNM1. FNM2 is equal to FNM1, which is equal to 1. And FNM1 is equal to new value of Fn, which we have calculated just now, that is 2. Okay, now I value will be incremented again. I becomes 4. I becomes 4. It is less than or equal to 5. Still we want the fifth Fibonacci number. So calculate it. Fn is equal to FNM1 plus FNM2. So 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. This is the fourth Fibonacci number. Again FNM2 will be equal to FNM1, that is equal to 2, and FNM1 is equal to the new number Fn, that is 3. Okay, now I is equal to 5. When I becomes 5, I less than or equal to n, condition will be true. It is the value for the for loop from 2 to n, okay, up to n. So it is value of I is equal to 5 now, fifth Fibonacci number we want. So Fn is equal to 2 plus 3, right? Sorry, 3 plus 2 I can write because Fnm1 into Fnm2, right? So 3 plus 2, which is equal to 5. Okay, this is the fifth Fibonacci number. Now again value of Fnm1, Fnm2 is equal to Fnm1, which is equal to 3, and Fnm1 is equal to Fn, that is new value, it is equal to 5. When I value becomes 6, I is equal to 6, it will come out of the loop. Okay, it will come out of the loop and it will display the value of Fn. What is the value of Fn? Fn value is 5. Okay, Fn value is 5. So that will be displayed on the screen. Okay, this is how it works. I hope you understood the concept. Any doubt in this? This is not a recursive function. Okay, it is not a recursive function. You have learned recursive function for the Fibonacci series, right? Here we have learned the recursive iterative function today. Okay, we have learned the iterative function today. You can write the recursive function also, which you have already learned, right? So I hope you understood this concept. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. You have any doubts? Okay, so we'll move to the next concept, that is analysis. How to analyze this? We'll move to that concept. So here I have directly written it into step count table. Anyhow, it is, you know that it is one and the same, but if we write the step count table, it is easier to understand, right? So first line, yes or E, statement or executable statement, it's equal to 0. Since we have two cases here, if part and else part, for both the cases we have to write the frequency separately. Okay, for both the cases we have to write the frequency separately. When n is equal to 0 or 1, and then when n is greater than 1. Okay, then we'll discuss total number of steps. Okay, so algorithm, first we'll discuss this. Okay, statement or executable statement. First line, it is not executable. It will just inform the compiler that it's an algorithm or it's a function, right? Then compute the nth Fibonacci number, it's a command. This is also not executable. And then open bracket, this is also not executable. This is also inform the compiler that it is a beginning of the algorithm, right? Then if n is less than or equal to 1, it's a executable statement. So one executable statement, so it is 1. Right of n, this is also executable statement, so it will be 1. Okay, then in the else part, when we have opened the bracket, this is not executable statement. It will just specify the compiler that it's the beginning of the else part, right? So it will be 0. Then in this line, we have two executable statement. That is Fnm2 is equal to 0 and Fnm1 is equal to 1. Okay, in a single line, we have two statements. So S or E is equal to 2. I hope you are getting. Fnm2 is equal to 0, it's one statement. Fnm1 is equal to 1, that is another statement. So here, this is, we have two executable statements, so it will be equal to 2. Okay, then again for I is equal to 2 to n, this is also executable statement, so it will be 1. Then open bracket, it is 0. Then Fn is equal to Fnm1 plus Fnm2, executable statement, so it is 1. Again we have two executable statement in this line. Fnm2 is equal to Fnm1 and Fnm1 is equal to Fn. Okay, two executable statements we have. Again closing bracket, it is 0. Then right of Fn, that is display the value on the screen. So this is also executable statement, so it will be 1. Then two closing brackets we have, so it is 0 and 0. Okay, we'll check with the frequency when n is equal to 0 or 1. So when n is equal to 0 or 1, so first statement will be executed and this second statement also executed, right? This right of n will be executed. So it will be 1 and 1. I hope you are getting. When the condition is true for if statement, if n is less than or equal to 1, Or I can say when n is equal to 0, this condition will be true. And when n is equal to 1, this condition will be true. Right? So in that case, these two statements will be executed, 1 and 1. Else part will not be executed at all. So all the executable statement, we have zeros here. Okay, I hope you are getting. If condition, the statements followed by if condition will be executed means else part will not be executed. So all the executable statement in the else part, it will be 0. I hope you are getting. Okay, then when n is greater than 1, okay, when n is greater than 1, to check the condition, this will be executed. Right, to check the condition, this will be executed. So this will be 1. Sorry, this I have written it as 0. It is 1. Okay, this will be executed when n is equal to 1. This condition will be executed. Okay, this condition will be executed when n is equal to 1, but right of n will not be executed. Okay, right of n will not be executed. I hope you are getting. But this condition will be executed. Okay, this condition will be executed. Then in else part, this statement, we have two statements. This will be executed one time. Okay, both the statement will be executed one time. And then for I is equal to 2 to n do, it will be executed n minus 1 plus 1 time. Okay, n minus 1. Why n minus 1? Because it is beginning from 2. Okay, 2 to n time it will execute for true cases, and 1 time it will execute for false case. So n minus 1 plus 1 means nothing but n. Okay, n minus 1 I have written so that you can understand the concept. Okay, n minus 1 because it begins at 2. 1 to n means n number of times. Right? 1 to n means n number of times for true cases. But here it is 2 to n. 2 to n means obviously n minus 1 number of times. Okay, n minus 1 number of times. That is, for example, if n is equal to 5, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 4 times it will execute for true cases. 4 times it will execute for true cases. When it becomes 6, it will be false. Okay, so it is n minus 1 plus 1 which is equal to n. Okay, then this statement, that is fn is equal to fnm 1 plus fnm 2, it will be executed n minus 1 number of times. That is when the for loop condition is true. How many times for loop condition will be true? N minus 1 times for loop condition will be true. Okay, then fnm2 is equal to fnm1 and fnm1 is equal to fn. This will also be executed for n minus 1 number of times. Okay, both the statements are within the for loop, and n minus 1 times the condition will be true. Okay, n minus 1 time condition will be true. So these two statements will be executed n minus 1 number of times. Okay, I hope you understood. Then right of fn will execute 1 number of times. Okay, now we'll calculate the frequency. Okay, we'll calculate the frequency. Total steps. So here, okay, see here. So we are going to calculate the frequency 1 and 1. This value is 1. Okay, and then 1 and 1 for else case is also it is 1. Actually, I had to write for different frequency. Since we have if and else part, I have written in one single column. Okay, actually I have to write the total steps for two different values here, two different cases, one for if and one for else. Since it is not a recursive algorithm, I have written in a single column. Okay, so in both the cases this value will be 1. That's why I have changed its color to purple, so that you can understand for both the cases this value will be 1. Okay, and then next one, 1 and 1, this will be executed only when the condition is true. Okay, and 1 and 0 will be 1 into 0 will be 0 for the else case. Okay, then here for the else case, now for the else case we are writing if case we have already written. Okay, for the else I am writing now. So 2 into 1 which is equal to 2. Okay, then 1 into n which is equal to n, then 1 into n minus 1, it's equal to n minus 1. 2 into n minus 1, 2 into n minus 1, it is 2n into, sorry, 2n minus 2, 2n minus 2. Okay, then 0 into 0, it is 0, then 1 into 1, it will be equal to 1. Okay, 1 into 1 which is equal to 1. So when n is equal to 0 or 1, when n is equal to 0 or 1, so total steps is equal to 2. Okay, total steps is equal to 2, 1 plus 1, which is equal to 2. When n is greater than 1, then total steps is equal to 1 plus 2. So this one, okay, you can see here. So n is, when n is greater than 1, total steps is equal to, we have to consider this one also. Okay, so 1 plus 2 plus n minus 1 plus n minus 1 plus 2n minus 2 plus 1. So which is equal to 4n minus 1. Okay, which is equal to 4n minus 1. You can check with this value. We are getting 4n minus 1. So when n is equal to 0, total number of steps is equal to 2. And when n is greater than 1, then the total number of steps is equal to 4n minus 1. So that is the analysis of Fibonacci algorithm. Then we'll discuss basic concept of asymptotic notation. And then in the next class, we'll learn in detail what is asymptotic notation is. Okay. Informal introduction. Informally, so before starting this, I'll tell you we have three basic asymptotic notations: big O, omega, and theta. Okay, big O, omega, and theta. So first we'll learn about big O. Informally, big O of g of n is a set of all functions with a smaller or same order of growth as g of n. First, I'll tell you why we need to use the asymptotic notation. If you want to compare the efficiency of any two algorithm, okay, if you want to compare the efficiency of any two algorithm, you can have the function for that, like t of n and g of n. Okay, if the algorithm efficiency is t of n, and you have to compare it with g of n. Okay, if you have to compare it with g of n, then your function is having smaller order of growth than g of n. Okay, I hope you're getting. So that is big O. With example, you'll come to know. So n belongs to big O of n square. You can notice here when we have n and n square, obviously n is less than n square, right? N is less than n square. Again, 100n plus 5, this is also big O belongs to n square. Here, the function on the left side, it is n. N is less than n square. Okay, again, n is less than n square. We need to add some constant on the right side to make it bigger than this. But we can directly write it belongs to big O of n square. With some constant values which we are going to add. You will come to know that in the next class. So here we have n. So it is less than n square. So I can directly say it belongs to big O of n square. Then here in the next one, we have half n square. If I multiply this, half n square minus half n will get. Half n square minus half n will get. And this also belongs to n square. Obviously, half n square is less than n square, right? Half n square is less than n square. So this also belongs to big O of n square. So remember that on the left hand side, whatever the function we have, if it is smaller order of growth than g of n, then we say that it belongs to big O of g of n. Okay. Similarly, second notation is omega of g of n. This function is for larger or same order of growth. Okay, larger or same order of growth, usually used for larger order of growth. Okay. See with the example, n cube belongs to omega of n square. So n cube is greater than n square, right? So I can write n cube belongs to omega of n square. Similarly, half n square minus half n, this also belongs to n square. So the omega of n square, for this also we can add some constant and make the left hand side bigger. Okay, for example, I can add 1 by 4 into n square on the right hand side. Okay, I can add a constant on the right hand side, that is 1 by 4 of n square. If I add that constant, if I multiply with that constant 1 by 4 n square, obviously half n square becomes bigger than that, right? So this is on the left hand side, whatever we have, if it is having larger order of growth, then we say that it belongs to omega of n square. Okay. Similarly, consider the next one, 100n plus 5. Okay, 100n plus 5, it doesn't belongs to omega of n square. Reason is n is having smaller order of growth than n square. N is less than n square always, right? So n is having smaller order of growth than n square. So it doesn't belong to omega of n square. Okay, and the last one is theta of g of n. This is the set of all functions that have the same order of growth as g of n. Okay, big O is for lesser order of growth, omega is for greater order of growth or larger order of growth, and theta is for same order of growth. Okay, every quadratic function like an square plus bn plus c with a greater than 0 is in theta of n square. Again, we'll discuss this in detail in the next class. You'll come to know. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. If you have any doubts?